You're sick of that old costume, aren't you? You're ready to take it to the swap meet or dump it in the Goodwill. Don't do it. In this video, I'm going to show you how to revamp your older costumes and make them look awesome. Marhaba dancers, I am Jensuya, and in this video, you're going to come along with me as I revamp an old costume, one of the very first ones that I did, and turn it into a brand new costume. I got this costume back in 2004 when we went to Turkey, and I got a whole bunch, I got 4 or 5 new ones at the Grand Bazaar. It was fantastic. They were spectacular colors, really good value. Read, they were cheap, and they were cheap because they weren't of the finest quality. But I was just getting started in dancing, and they were spectacular colors. I love to sew. I'm good at that stuff, and I thought, I can go ahead and customize these for myself. Fast forward like 8-10 costumes later, I realized that I hadn't worn this purple one in years because basically, as I look back on it, I'm like, it kind of looks amateurish. So as you gain more experience, you're more critical. So the first thing to do when you're ready to throw out your old costume is to get a photograph of yourself wearing it. And it doesn't have to be a spectacular photo. I just have this one that somebody shot of us while we were dancing years ago, and analyze it and say, now, of course, this has caught me in not that great a pose, but I sit here and I analyze it next to one that is good. This is several costumes later and a lot more experience dancing, not to mention that it's better photography. But that's the whole point, is I'm looking at it going, what do I like about this one that I don't like about this one? Because essentially I got these costumes at the same time, remade both of them. The only thing that was there is the basic sequins. I added all the jewels, I changed the straps, I took some, it had all kinds of straps going, both of them, every direction. I took those off and then resized the bras and the belts to fix. The cup sizes on the bra, they're both very small. Now I'm very small, very good at padding, very good at adding lift, but just the whole outline of them is kind of flattish. So when you have fringe on it, especially if the fringe was not put on by a super pro and was put above the apex, it tends to flatten the thing. Also, the fringe followed a line that did not give a nice V shape or not a nice curve, and you can see in this that it just kind of looks sort of square and, I don't know, like a 12-year-old. So that's the first thing, is analyze what you don't like about it. So what I didn't like about this is that the top looked kind of flattish. The fringe was too squarish. Also, because this has so many gold beads on top of the purple, which up close is pretty, from a distance it tends to muddy the color. It doesn't look as purplish as I want. In fact, the top looks like a different color from the bottom because the angle of the light and the beads. So I said, I want to accentuate the color. So I know that the changes that I wanted to make are to make the top look more voluptuous, to accentuate the purple color, to sort of de-accentuate the gold, and to give a little bit more definition to the shape. So the first thing that I did was I got these purple sequins, which are easy to get. I'll link up, I think I got them on Amazon. I'll link those up in the notes. And I sewed a line of purple sequins along the bottom of the belt. And what that does visually is brings out much more purple. It makes the belt look wider and really gives a lot of purple focus. Because when I look at the old one, the belt, it looks unfinished to me. I felt like it needed some sort of border. So the purple sequins. The other thing that I've done is, in other costumes, to emphasize the purple, because there's so much gold beads on it, which, as I said, kind of muddied it, is I would have put a whole line of purple jewels along the base of the belt and around the edges to give it sort of a border. But I had already glued on colored jewels. I called it my candy drop costume. So without taking those off, I've just added more purple. I'll take the this tacky stuff, which I'll also link up. You can get that on Amazon or something. I don't know what it's called. And I will use tacky stuff and put jewels in place on the belt and look to see so that I can move them around without gluing them on. Later on, I'll glue them on with a hot glue gun. On this front part, I added more green, so when I squinted, I still maintained kind of a triangle look. I did the same thing on the back of the belt, but they're using yellow. A thing that I do when I'm making a costume is first, I don't rush it. Try not to rush it. I set it up in a room where I can look at it, and several times a day I can go in and glance, and then when I go in and glance and I'm like, oh, that looks really great, then I think, okay, I'm on to something. If I go and I think, yeah, it's kind of not good, I just play around for a few minutes, and then I leave and I come back, because sometimes when you're learning how to do design, or maybe even when you're a designer, you're not quite sure what it is that's off. Is it the color? Is it the shape? What is it? So I play with it for a while. The bra, what I did was I took off this fringe that I had for a long time. Now the center fringe I added when I first, I think it may have had a piece in the middle, and I took off. And I made these beads in the middle, which I'm particularly fond of. These jade came from a necklace from my great-grandmother. Various beads came from other costumes. I used some of the original beads. And what I've done is taken off the fringe on the cups, because as I was saying, the cups are kind of flattish, even though I did a good job stuffing them, and they had the fringe sewn in the wrong spot, so it visually flattened the top, and I wanted a more voluptuous look, and it tended to draw the eye down and make the whole torso look squarish. So what I've done now, I'm going to be working on playing with what am I going to do to this top to decorate it and make it match the bottom, the belt. So I really like the purple sequins. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, because if I put them on the cup, which could look really pretty, again, it's kind of a flattish cup, but when you start putting stuff on, like fringe or palettes, that it can tend to visually flatten it. Not so with the jewels. Gluing the jewels on, done in the right way, can actually have the illusion of making it look bigger. So that's what I think I'm going to have to do. However, I would like to try to bring in the sequins as well to match the look of the bottom. I want to leave the middle fringe because I love it, and it matches the headband. Over the next few days, in the mornings with coffee, in the evenings with a glass of wine, I'm into beverages, we'll play around with that and see what happens. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been able to work on the costume, but I actually like to have that much time in between, because sometimes I just get so muddled with looking at it. Having that time to look at it with fresh eyes again is really helpful. Okay, here we go. And, oh, pretty colors. Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's the top. I took off that. Let's see how we're looking. I should put another one because I like this. I like this. When you squint your eyes and look far away, you really focus on this part because it's so contrasting. And then here, this is all just purple, and then the outline, I'm liking it. What I see when I squint is my eye goes around like this. It goes around like this, and I really focus here. You know what, really, at this point, I need to try it on and see how it looks. Now, trying it on is a little tricky because these are just on there with tacky stuff. I like it. I like the look. I like getting rid of that other fringe because now it feels like you can see my waist more. No, there's not much of a waist, but anyways. Okay, so I'm squinting my eyes, and I like all the sparkly jewel colors as I turn here. And as I squint, I'm looking for where I see lights and darks. And so what I see is I see this. I see the blue and the greens, and then around to here. And so it kind of, with keeping the candy design and with not removing other jewels that were already on there, because I don't want to do that. If I were doing this from scratch, I would do it differently. But since I'm working with what I had already done, I want to keep those colors. So I want to add color, but I don't want it to be chaos. So I like all of this purple in here. This one, as I do this, I see these light colors, and I'm like, why? They're just kind of mishmash. This I like curved because this kind of gives me a circular feeling, at least these colors outside with the inside being purple. So I think I'm going to keep that. So let's see the belt. Now I have to go into the light and back out of it. Okay, so the first thing I notice is I love these purple palettes. That really adds the purple. And I see now I have the same effect of thinking more of purple and still very, very colorful. Stand up straight like an Easter egg. So the upshot is add a color, more dark here. And maybe I will look at doing some palettes, a few, some things stringy right there. I don't want to add them to the bottom here. I've seen this done on costumes, and what it does is it takes your eye right down there. That's not where the eye should go. The eye should move around the costume and come up to the face. So a lot of costumes just put a lot of stuff on there, and it takes your eye and leaves it down here, which is not where I think it should be. 15 minutes till showtime at our monthly restaurant gig, and I'm about to try out the revamped purple costume. Yay! La, 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 la. Wrapping it from the box. I always keep them wrapped in towels. We'll look at that later. And drum roll. Okay, and I added a little bit of palettes there. And then, that ready? And then the belt.
You know what I'm saying is it was Scott. Remember Scott got that big table? Okay, and then Mike got this one, and then I got that one right there. How the hell did I get five right after that?
Gotta get dressed. Voila! The completely revamped purple costume, and I think you can see that I've totally enjoyed dancing in it. Hey, if you like this video, smash the like button, share it with your friends, and leave us your comments and thoughts about your belly dance costuming.